We welcome Laura Paskus into the studio now. Laura, that group of local officials called the New Mexico CAP entity. Where are they in asking the federal government for more time to decide on a diversion plan?
Sure. So they have asked the U.S. Department of the Interior Secretary for more time to make a decision, to come to kind of the planning decision on the Gila River diversion. And they went to Washington, D.C. in October. So hopefully the Secretary will be issuing his decision soon.
Do we have any indication of that, by the way, now that you mentioned that? Any hints out there about when that decision might come out? Or?
No, the Interior Department has to make a decision by the end of the year, and the CAP entities asked for an extension. So we should be finding out any time now.
You know, interesting, I get the feeling that the scale of what was asked for, or what was imagined, and what is now proposed is dramatically different. Tell the folks what's going on there. That's interesting.
Sure. So back in 2014, the state was advocating for a large-scale diversion on the Gila River, which was estimated to cost almost $1 billion. Over the years, plans have been scaled back and changed a number of times. When we were reporting the story this summer, there were 3 components to the diversion project. There was a planned diversion on the Gila River, some infrastructure on the San Francisco, which is a tributary to the Gila, and then some on-farm storage ponds down in Verdon, which is a small farming community right on the border of New Mexico and Arizona. And nowadays, the CAP entity is advocating for just those on-farm storage ponds in Verdon. So it sounds like the diversion is off the table for now, at least. The infrastructure on the San Francisco River is off the table, and so that's kind of how things are moving forward right now.
Tricky. If you could spend a minute explaining the 2 streams of money available from the federal government, their conditions, and probably most importantly, how New Mexicans can access that money.
Sure. So back in 2004, when Congress passed what's called the Arizona Water Settlements Act, it set up the conditions for New Mexico to take advantage of this 14,000 acre feet of water and exchange it with a downstream user. And that came with the authorization for 2 different pots of money. And in 2014, New Mexico made the decision to go ahead with a diversion alternative, a big construction alternative on the Gila River, which opened up these 2 pots of money. One was just for non-diversion types of projects, and then additional tens of millions of dollars for the diversion project. And as it stands right now, New Mexico has spent about $14 million planning this diversion project, and there's about $60 million left in this fund that New Mexico could access for water projects.
Interestingly, when you think about it, it boils down to who gets the water at the end of the day. And Arizona versus us, what's the plan there? And I don't want to wrap Texas into this because that's a whole other kettle of fish. But the Arizona part, what should we expect at the end of the day to protecting New Mexico's water?
Right. So that's really an interesting question. And the way kind of things have happened on the Gilas is it's often portrayed as though this project were new water for New Mexico, for New Mexico to be taking water out of the Gila River that maybe we don't have access to at this point. But it's a little bit confusing and a little bit misleading when we talk about it like that, because it's water that New Mexico was authorized to trade with a downstream user. In this case, the Gila River Indian community. And so it's not new water that New Mexicans would have access to. It really is a trade deal. And as I understand it, the water that New Mexicans have rights to on the Gila River, we're not even taking advantage of all of that water for which people have senior water rights at this point. So then we kind of also stray into the issue of climate change and how much water is actually available from the river, particularly as the region warms.
I'm glad you just asked that. That was, you anticipated my next question. How far down the road do we need to look at this? At 2050, 2060? Do you know what I mean? And how far does the planning need to go so everyone gets their needs met, but especially here in New Mexico, we get our needs met?
That's a great question. I think when we're looking at water planning, whether it's statewide water planning or for one watershed, I think a 100-year plan is something that's really realistic that people should be thinking about. In a water-constrained state like New Mexico, we really need to be looking very far ahead into the future, especially with climate change.
I'm curious about Verdon. What do they grow there? And are they water-intensive crops? What do they grow there?
So I think it's probably, I've never actually been there, but I think it's probably flood irrigation of crops like alfalfa, maybe some cotton down in that part of the state, but field crops, maybe some onions, things like that.
We forget here sometimes how we grow a lot of things here. Water is just really super important for every part of our state. Laura Paskus, thanks for coming in. We're going to continue to follow your work. Really appreciate it. That's going to do it for us this week. The Line returns next week to tackle the headlines and important issues of New Mexico.